For those who lived in the 90s, what were they like? Surprisingly little supervision in hindsight. In one word, I would say vibrant. The iconic fashion trends, the booming pop culture, and the rise of technology made it a great decade. The 90s were amazing. The Cold War was over. 9/11 had not yet happened. It seemed as if maybe the world would finally get its shit together. The US military was actively downsizing. Wrap your head around that. The music in the first half of the 90s was amazing. The most popular songs were actually really good, not the algorithmic, superficial dopamine bombs concocted by accountants and marketers we are subjected to today. The internet was new and in its infancy, so it was exciting and hopeful, not the cesspool of lies and corporate dominance it is today. It was the sunset of the analog age. We actually had to physically gather together in groups over beer and wine, great food, and laughs like animals. It was epic. The music was my favorite part. I was pretty young in the 90s, but it felt like there was a sense of bottomless optimism, at least in the West. That all kinda changed in 2001 and then even more in 2008. Blissfully unaware of what was coming. That and Tori Amos. I was a child in the 90s. I played outside a lot and played with my toys a lot. We didn't have cable, so I didn't watch much TV. I could play with my toys with my sister all day. Little to no supervision. You only knew your friends were home cause their bike was out front. Video games were not as popular as playing outside using your imagination. Built countless hideouts or clubhouses that would never be approved by a home inspector. Knowing it's time to head home when street lights turned on. Free, vibrant, and lush. So awesome even the president was getting BJs on the sly. It was cool. I played outside at LOT, always riding my bike with friends. Also, my mom never really knew what I did or where I was, but the only rule was come back home once the street lights come on. Honestly, it was peak. I was not accessible unless I wanted to be. Once you were out with friends, you were out for the night. Sometimes you would run into people you knew, but otherwise you could just focus on what you were doing in the present. And no one documented it. The Cold War was over and 9/11 hadn't happened yet. The world felt safe, so safe. I'm so grateful to have been a teenager in the 90s. Everything was affordable, wages were great, movies were amazing. It was actually fun going out on the weekends. Life was good. LAN parties, lugging 100 pounds of equipment to have your very best setup. Multiplayer Quake with a 5 MS ping is awesome. 20 went a lot fucking further than it does now. It was beautiful. Presently known as the end of the forgotten world. Internet destroyed the world. I turned 18 in 1990, joined the military right after high school graduation. I grew up with the threat of nuclear annihilation and was active duty Air Force working on nuclear weapons when the Soviet Union collapsed. The day we removed our missiles from the bombers and off of alert status, then stored them in their bunkers, was monumental. The effect of this cannot be overstated. The hope of the world in the early 90s was an amazing thing to experience firsthand. OJ and a White House blowjob were the biggest things to obsess about. Two new genres of music really took flight: rap pop and grunge in mainstream culture. The Berlin Wall had fallen and Russia wasn't nearly as scary as the Soviet Union. The internet takeoff was intoxicating and promised a prosperous future. It's difficult to overstate how hopeful the decade was for many, not all Americans. People are more wholesome than today.